Well, she didn't, did she? The dirty old sod. Anyway, I can't talk because he's here. Yeah, I love you too. All right, bye. Sorry about that, Greg. That was Andy. He's having trouble with his Fairy Dust Pixel filter. Anyway, how are you, Greg? You all right? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Into the Music.
I was doing all right. Now I'm kind of like weirded out.
I don't know what you mean.
I have to reassess this whole partnership thing. You guys obviously took partner to a whole new different height. So I think you're here. You think I have something? Well, screw you. I ain't giving you a song. I'm not giving it to you. You reject.
Oh, dear. I knew that would tickle you.
All right, I'll give you something. You know what? I'm gonna give you something now. I'm gonna give you something. All right, hold on. Let me rethink this. Okay. All right. By the time we hang up and like that, you'll have the link there.
Right.
It's gonna be Polly Pretty Polly from Judy Collins. Yeah.
Judy Collins.
Polly Pretty Polly. Judy Collins. Yeah, you think so angelic and like that? Go check this song out.
Will do.
Polly, pretty Polly, come, go along with me. Polly, pretty Polly, come, go along with me. Before we get married, some pleasure to see. She jumped up behind him and away they did ride. Jumped up behind him, away they did go.
Okay, this song is very, very beautiful. She's got one of those classic sort of, I guess, in 60s folk voices. And they all sound to me very, what's the word? They're quite formal, that sort of voice, but beautiful, really beautiful. And the music behind it is lovely. And the instruments are just slowly coming in one by one, like the guitar and obviously the acoustic. But is it the bass or something that's like really? It sounds really muffled. Ooh, sort of noise, almost like a muffled heartbeat or something. Interesting the way they've done this. It sounds really nice. And they're off to have some pleasure to see, which we all like a bit of that.
Over the mountains and the valley is so low. Oh Willie, I'm afraid for my life. Oh Willie, I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid you mean to murder me and leave me behind.
Wow, that got dark very quick. So scampering off over the mountains and the valleys below for some pleasure to see before they get married. And then it's, I'm afraid you're going to murder me. Wow. Okay. lyrics. That's really clever. The bit where they were saying, you guessed right, and then he stabbed her through the heart, and that grew in sort of power. The guitars came in, and there was, so it's just almost like a surge of passion. Bloody psycho. And then there was a little bit of a break, and there's like two guitars, a high one and a low one. Sounded fantastic. And then that line afterwards, just then, he threw a little dirt over her and started for home, and they brought it all down again. So it sounded even sadder. This like this girl alone, dead, not even buried properly. There's something about the birds mourning her, this isolation. It's really bleak. I mean, I have a dark sense of humor, but geez, this is really bleak. But the way they did it musically is absolutely clever, because it just drops it down again from this passionate to this it is mournful, actually, that little bit. Wow, I don't see this getting played at many wedding receptions.
A debt to the devil, Willie must pay. A debt to the devil, Willie must pay. For killing pretty Polly and running and running. And running
Well, that was a really good song, actually, and it surprised me no end. The lyrical content. And the way it's done, the way they repeat the lines and stuff, I wonder if this is an old song that she's done her version of. But yeah, it's really effective. Even her voice changed towards the end, it became more sort of powerful and more passionate, quite a formal beginning. But this is, yes, makes you stop and think. Naughty, naughty Willie. Okay, back to Greg.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. What'd you think?
Sending the clowns, holy shit. I think I said in the
Sending the clown from It.
yeah.
That kind of
Oh,
clown.
man. I think I said in the reaction, I stopped and I said, I don't think this gets played at many wedding receptions.
Polly, pretty Polly. Yeah.
Oh man, it started
Wow.
off atmospheric. She's got a great voice, obviously, and it's very folksy. There's something about it's almost like that English folk revival sound, that started in the early 60s. You had the sort of folk revival in Greenwich and in New York, but you also had the one in
Are you
UK
talking
as
about
well.
her voice or you think the music?
Her voice.
Right. Okay.
It's quite.
Right.
What's the word? I
the
don't want to say
music's a little
affected.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's affected, but it's kind of that very almost sort of very polite and way of singing. It sounds almost. I don't know what's the word for it, but it's nice. Don't get me wrong. And but yeah, it was atmospheric as well, and so the music's a little different. And then, there's this really muffled bass noise as well in it, which I don't know what the hell that was, and there was nice percussion.
Yeah.
And then it just suddenly went down this completely nightmare path. And it was like I couldn't honestly believe what I was hearing half the time. I had to keep stopping there.
Right.
So I got this theory. I remember something on the back of my head. It's talked about this, and I'm not really into folk, but there's this tradition. I think they called them murder songs, and I think this is one of them. I've got a feeling this is an old song, and she's rejigged it, because it was also with what's his face on the link. You said it's with
Stephen
guy from
Stills.
Cosby. Yeah, from Cosby, Stills, Nash, and he's obviously. I'm guessing he's done the music. He did a fantastic job. Yeah, there was some really interesting stuff, and the music shifted with the narrative as well.
I think her voice
So-
too. I think
And
her
her voice, yeah, her voice as well. I mean, it's almost so it starts off, you know, and then it starts to sort of drift a little bit, and then, as well as the music, her voice gets more and more powerful as the sort of emotion builds, and it's this passion. I mean, he's a complete psycho for saying, "Yeah, you guessed right, I'm going to kill you," you know, because they're about to be married, you know. Anyway, I mean, absolutely, but I guess that sort of thing went on. But yeah, and when she's gone on about, you know, he stabbed her through the heart, you know, that was just really sort of that. It was the height of the, you know, you imagine this almost mad frenzy. I don't know if you've seen if you know, if you've seen the film Frenzy by Alfred Hitchcock, but there's a bit where he strangles a woman in it, and he's that sort of mad, passionate bit, and afterwards he's all like, ugh, and he's exhausted, you know, emotionally. But it sort of matched that, and there's a really sad line where she says that he threw a little dirt. I did write it down. Threw a little dirt over her, and started for home, and that's when it starts to die down again. So then you've got this idea of this poor woman alone, dead, you know, just a bit of dirt thrown over her, and it starts to quieten down again. And it's just, and then you got this idea of isolation. Then it's almost like he's moving away from her, away from the valley, but also moving away from the passion of the moment.
Right.
And it all mirrors it really cleverly.
Do you remember the words after that line you just cited?
Oh, was it something to do with
threw a little
only
dirt
the
over her,
birds?
leaving no one there but the wild birds to mourn.
Yes, to mourn. That's it. Yes.
Mourn.
Which was a killer line.
That was a killer line. I'm like 10, 11 years old. My mother, my parents brought that album and they would play that song. And I was like, whoa. And I remember that line, and that just got me. That song's been with me that long. But yeah, that's the one that sealed it, because it's just, she's there, you know, she's no one's there. Like, she's just treated under dirt. And that's powerful as a kid who's listening to that. Holy crap.
It's like the forest has suddenly gone quiet again, you know, after this commotion, you know, and it's almost like the camera's pulling away slowly, and it's going quiet again after this, you know, savage attack.
Because the deed was done. You know, there was life. There were two lives. Now there's only one. So that one life is sapped out. And then all that led to that heinous crime, right? Now it's just all the air is out, and she's just dead. And the music just does not betray that at all. It's it's brilliant. The way I know I'm cutting into your sort of, because I know you're still talking about, but to me it's brilliant. You know, the way they just constructed this whole song from beginning to end. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just reading my notes while I'm trying to decipher them. And you don't have a Rosetta Stone on you, do you? It does say in the powerful music, I wrote down guitars.
Wait, hold on.
or the cipher machine, guitars, plural. So there was a high and a low one going at the same time, which again was really effective.
Yes, and I'm not sure if it's all Steven. He might be one of the guitarists. There might be somebody else on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just reading the rest of mine saying that, you know, it was high, her voice was higher when it started, and it was more formal, and then it becomes more passionate. I mean, she's almost pleading for her life, and it becomes more powerful and emotional as well. The way she sings, she stretches out notes, and it really, you know, fills it through.
Can I just stop you one second? She also becomes Willie, because when she says, "Hey, Willie, you know, I feel for my life," right?
Oh, yes, she answers in Willie's terms,
Yeah, I think you mean to murder me, right? You know, and like, that's where her voice is kind of coming up. And then he comes back and he's like, because he's right there. You can imagine, like, that's, like, he's got the knife and it's like, you're right. Yeah. You got me. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so she's singing, and now his emotion is coming through, right? Oh, I mean, So she's
That's almost
totally,
like a
yeah.
Here's Johnny sort of moment, wasn't it? You know,
Yeah,
it's
when he
like
bashes the
that.
door, yeah,
Yeah.
right, to Shelley Duvall, you know.
I haven't got much more to say on it, actually. I mean, just it was so, it really impressed me. Really impressed me the way it was. Just not only was it powerful, emotional, but it was cleverly done as well. So
Yeah.
I've really only ever heard like "Sending the Clouds" by her. So you know, and I wouldn't normally gravitate towards this at all, but I was really impressed. The only other thing I'd say, just as an aside,
Sure.
is that Pretty Polly, I don't know if it's in the States, but it's a really famous brand of what we call tights over here, what you call pantyhose over there. And I think that's really weird, knowing this song's probably been around for decades, that they call a brand of pantyhose Pretty Polly. It's bizarre.
Again, you want to bring in the weird. What did I get myself into with John? All right, Greg, just write it out. Hi, John. So this is actually off her album, her 7th studio album, 1968. So she was definitely a big time folk singer in the 60s. Who knows where the time goes?
Oh,
And,
yes.
it actually peaked number 29 on the Billboard pop albums charts of that year. And it had like a sort of wide range of songs, some folk, some sort of rock country. This was, I don't know, kind of, it's really interesting to sort of try to label this one. Definitely has a little psychedelic rock folk kind of all sort of put into one big pot and stirred a bit. I think when you get Stephen Stills and some other musicians to join, who are sort of coming up, you know, on their own career path, right, and doing some great things, you know, you're bound to come up with something like really something unique and special. And I think this song definitely is that. It's really interesting. Wiki describes this song in this album as the traditional murder ballad. Pretty Polly. Yeah, and if you actually if I click on Pretty Polly, I believe it was originally written, and let me just see what Wiki is telling me, because I have down here, okay, so all right, because Pretty Polly, I thought it was traditional, and that's what Wiki is saying, traditional English language folk song founded in British Isles, Canada, Appalachian region in North America. But Ralph Stanley, who's like a bluegrass country guy from many years ago, his name is on that too, underneath as a writer. But it might just be that Ralph Stanley was another one, just like Judy Collins and a whole slew of other artists who just took a stab. Sorry, no pun intended. Took a stab at you know, at covering the song. And his is like a very bluesgrass. In fact, a lot of the versions that I heard, other than Judy's, was like a sort of bluegrass kind of feel, you know, because it definitely was a song that was kind of like really embraced again in the Appalachian region over the years. So Judy's version is like different, you know, whereas some of the other versions I could say, yeah, you know, sounds a little bit like, you know, sounds not hers. It just, to me, it just stands out. But yeah, they describe it as a murder ballad, which I never actually, if I cover my mouth over it, murder ballads are a subgenre of the traditional ballad form dealing with a crime or a gruesome death. So when I think about violent femmes, right, and there's that song, Country Death Song, right?
Yes.
Do I have that right? Yeah, right. You know them, right? That when I think about that song that Andy threw you about a month ago, Peter, that Pytor, you know, that's kind of right. And there's a song that I'm going to give you sometime down the road from Fairport Convention. That's a little bit, you know, that's a kind of actually a lot in Judy's lane back in the 60s, folk rock. And they do a song that kind of touches on this type of content too. It's just interesting. It's like, you know, Greg, what, you know, you guys, what are you guys, weird? You know, you guys just like songs about murder? No, but no one supports that, but it is fascinating. I mean, murder does happen. And so when you have a song that's written about it, it's kind of, it is shocking. And if it's done right and it's sung right and it's played, you know, to a, wow, you know, you get something like this, you know, So there's a little bit.
But it's all storytelling, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Exactly. It's storytelling. Yeah.
And I mean, if you break down the original sort of like Grimm Brothers tales, you know, they were horrific. Little Red Riding Hood is you know,
Right.
serial killer, you know.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
He eats the grandmother. I mean,
Yeah.
this tiny little grandma, you know, he eats her.
He is Little Red Riding Hood in the original. They changed lots of the endings of the old stories that were
Right.
brutal, and they were all cautionary tales to children, like basically, do not go out in the woods on your own, do not talk to strangers,
Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel.
because it's
they
all
wind up in the pot.
you know, it's dangerous out there, and there wasn't, you know, local police rolling by, you know, checking on every corner to see if everyone was okay. It was you know, brutal out there in sort of Middle Eastern Europe back when all these tales were written. It was
Imagine
huge forests that went on for days, and you know, anything could happen in them.
imagine the wood cop, you know, the cop who's in the woods, who's patrolling the Hansel and Gretel house, knocking on the door. Come on, witchy. You don't have another kid in that pot, do you? Come on.
Come on, let's see your oven.
Patrolman Flanagan, you know me. Anyway, but
Officer Dibble.
but many variants, this is wiki still, many variants of this story have the villain as a ship's carpenter who promises to marry Polly but murders her when she becomes pregnant.
Right.
He goes back to sea. Either he is haunted by her ghost, confesses to the murder, goes mad and dies, or the ship will not sail. He denies the murder and is ripped to pieces by her ghost. So
so either way, it doesn't end well.
Either way, Willie does not. Yeah, I love that last line too, right? When it's like, you know, a debt to the devil, you know, debt to the devil, you know, Willie must pay, you know. Let's just make that clear. You know, what he did was heinous, and he's going to burn. He's going to burn for it. If you believe in hell. And so, I think you said it perfectly. It's a song that tells that story. I love songs like that. And if musically, you know, if musicians involved in that project, if they rise to the occasion and they support that and they make that really interesting and they kind of match the music to the mood and like as the story is going on, I think that's what happened here. Something special happened, and I really think that this song is just something 3 to 4 minutes of just special music.
It surprised the hell out of me. It really did. You know, that I actually enjoyed it so much as well. It really made me think. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. Want to take us out?
Yeah, sure. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our murder ballad. I know fans of Nick Cave probably did, but let us know what you think. Drop all your comments below, and please do like it, you know, if you did, and let us know how much. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're floating by and just dropping in, hit that subscribe button, and then you'll get the feed through every time we drop a new video, which cannot be missed. And that's enough of my prattling. So I'll say we'll see you all next time on Into the Music.